What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and yeah, we got the final results for the first weekend for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And look, let's just be straightforward and honest about it. This $114 million opening is not good. It is not a good number, okay? I know there's going to be a whole lot of cats out there on YouTube trying to say, oh, no, that's a great number, man. That's a phenomenal number, $114 million. Or maybe they'll talk about the 282 that it did on a global market, okay? They'll say that. All right. But let's just be completely honest about it. Let's speak honestly about what's going on. It's the result of brand damage, okay, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And look, you could be a huge Marvel stan. All right. You could be one of their biggest supporters. But look, this company is completely shitting the bed in terms of its brand. OK, I mean, if you're making a $250 million movie, you got to think, OK, we expect to at least get $1 billion. Right. We expect at least $1 billion out of this or somewhere close to it. Maybe in the $900 million range, somewhere like that. You don't spend $250 million on a film to then have it break even at $700 to $750 million. You don't do that, okay? These cats are spending buckets of money on these movies. All right. Look, if you spent like $100 million on the movie, maybe 125, 150. All right. This isn't so bad. OK, because, you know, as this thing plays out, you're probably going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 million. Bam. I've made my money back. OK, you're spending $250 million on this thing. OK, $250 million. That's a lot of bread. And if you're not going to make more than at least 750, 800 million at very, very least, it's going to probably be in the get your money back range and still have a little bit of change left in your pocket from the results of all of this work. Okay. If you're doing all of this work and pushing all of this stuff out and you're barely breaking even, if that, come on, that's a bad move. That's a bad business move. Nobody's going for that. That's one of the reasons why Bob Iger, and you guys will remember, he was already saying like, hey, why do we have trilogies? Okay, maybe we need to stop with 2 movies. All right, I'll go ahead and link that video above if you didn't catch that. But Bob Iger was already like after Ant-Man 3, like, whoa, what are we doing? You know, we don't have to put all of this money into this movie and then come up with nothing. The IP has already been established out there in the marketplace. Okay, we can sell plenty of toys and backpacks and lunchboxes off of that IP. Hey, we're done. Okay, we did 2 movies. We made what we was going to make off of it. Throw that shit on Disney Plus. Let's get on to the next. All right. But when you start doing trilogies and stuff, it's like, okay, we're doing a trilogy. This thing needs to make some bread. Okay, this thing needs to make some money, and it's not making the money that it's supposed to make. So yeah, that number is not a good number by any stretch of the imagination. And look, just for a reminder, just to remind people where folks thought this film was going to end up, right? This is Box Office Pro. This is the original projection, 120 to 155. Okay. So they thought this thing could fly as high as $155 million. Okay. And it didn't even get to 120 domestically. That's a huge problem, folks. That's a very huge problem. And it's going to struggle to get this. It is going to struggle to get to this 288, which I said at least it has to get there and give it a shot at breaking even. To get a shot at breaking even, and it's coming in below this projection. It's going to come in far below 280. I said like 260 puts it in the ballpark of maybe coming close to getting this money back. There's no way in the world that this thing is going to do that. But now listen, I'm not writing this thing off by any stretch of the imagination, and I want to make that clear. I'm not writing this film off. It could absolutely have, you know, because of the word of mouth, have long legs and stretch all the way into June. Okay. But the way it's looking like right now, I don't see that happening. We'll find out as the weeks and months develops, okay? By the time we get to the end of May, we're going to know where this thing stands. And, you know, by then, I think it might be a wrap, and they might be saying, okay, well, we'll get a few more weeks out of this, and then off to Disney Plus it goes. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out what Deadline has to say, because it has to say quite a bit, all right? So it says here, great news as Disney's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 held it together for Saturday for an estimated 38.8 million, just 20% off its Friday previews, a figure of 48.2 million. This will get the James Gunn directed MCU Swamp Song to 114 million, which is higher than the 110 we spotted earlier in the week. Yeah, that dropped. Remember, that thing had went from like 120 to 115 down to 110. They kept having to drop this thing down in order to make sure that it hit its mark. So it says essentially and logically, that's great heat out there for the film finally kicked in. Yeah, the word of mouth helped. I think it absolutely helped. Global is at 282 with 160 million overseas, which ranks as the 50th highest global debut ever for a movie. Look at this. Wow, better than expected. Better than originally expected? No, but better than your adjusted expectations. That's what it was. Some still have concern about superhero fatigue. Still a $100 million opening start to the summer, while easing some motion picture industry fears does put stress on the rest of the season's calendar to deliver. Read on. All right. And it's saying Guardian 3's opening here in recent memory is one of the lower kickoff summer openings, excluding the pandemic. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, usually Marvel movies kind of start the summer off with a bang, you know, big, huge number, like it's talking about right here with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness last year, opening at 187.4 million. Like, that's the kind of number you would expect like a Marvel movie to do in its opening weekend, you know, something like this, somewhere around this number, okay? Maybe even higher, all right? And for the fact that Guardians is only doing 114 million, like, you know, they're comparing this thing back to Spider-Man from Sony back in way back in the day when ticket prices was much different and the movie landscape was much different, okay, for superhero movies especially, all right? 2002 Spidey, yeah, this was an amazing opening weekend that it did. I remember it when I went to see this film back in the day, okay? But this is nothing compared to where the movie should be now, 21 years later, okay? Yeah, it's bad news right now. That said, why was the opening for Guardians 3 not as vibrant as Guardians 2 with the 146.5 million? Sources believe that the Part 2's pinnacle was more fluke in its overperformance and that the gross here for Guardians 3 is within the franchises and the MCU's deeper universe picks real mean, which we've been served plenty of, i.e. Deadpool 2 at 125 million in 2018. This is bullshit. First of all, this is a rated R movie, okay? You're not supposed to get like all kind of major bucks off of a rated R film. All right, yeah, so 125 million for a rated R movie, that's about right, okay? What are these guys talking about? Again, this is what these cats run cover for Marvel. They love running cover for Marvel. Oh, we'll explain it all away. Not to mention, we've seen Guardians appear in a number of movies like Avengers and Thor. Another reason for Guardians 2 popping in 2017, there was momentum leading into Avengers Infinity War, which was teeing off the following summer with 2018. Look, so they're trying to say that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is the outlier, okay? Like this one was just, oh, it's just bigger than what it should have been. You know, the funny thing is that the Guardians of the Galaxy, the characters themselves, okay, just the characters, they're popular in the Marvel Cinematic Universe fandom, okay? It might not be like the big names out there in terms of Marvel as a whole, right? That's Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, okay? Somebody brought that up on one of my previous videos. I get that, okay? I'm talking about the MCU itself, all right? The MCU itself, the Guardians are definitely like one of the more popular character groups out there, okay? You know, they're a very popular character group. Nobody knew who they were. James Gunn put them on the map. All right. So, like, I don't like them trying to, like, this, you know, oh, yeah, you know, these guys just popped in 2017, you know, because of all of these other factors. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. Still, many are telling me it's not about the overexposure of the Guardians game, interestingly enough. More to the point, why did Ant-Man and the Wasp go up in the opening as a threequel and Guardians come down? Because the former had the added bonus of Kang the Conqueror, who Disney was fueling up as the next villain coming off of Loki. And he was a huge part of Ant-Man's marketing, getting Quantumania to a record 3-day, $106 million franchise best. Guardians and its execution, again inherent to the film, looked like the same old, same old. There wasn't a big, new, notable Marvel personality to incorporate into the campaign, i.e. imagine if Harry Styles' Star Fox was a part of the trequel. We'd be looking at even more money this weekend. Instead, one of the added MCU characters here in Guardians 3 was Warlock, and I don't think this character really worked at all in the film. But I mean, nobody knew that, okay? Nobody knew that. They were just like, hey, you know, another character, it's the Guardians of the Galaxy film, all right? I never thought that these films really relied on, like, these major characters, like, oh, you know, we're bringing Star Fox into this thing, you know, or whatever. Maybe Ant-Man did rely a lot on Kang. I absolutely agree with that Ant-Man did rely a lot on Kang the Conqueror in order to kind of boost itself up. Otherwise, it wouldn't have did even what it did. But to me, Guardians was a solid franchise, and this again is just Marvel, you know, excuse making, number one, but Marvel's brand damaged, you know, almost beyond repair at this point. I don't know if you're ever going to get people back into the fold after this, okay? Because people are, you know, they kind of checked out after Endgame. They had an opportunity with Phase 4, and they just went completely MCU. They decided to woke it up heavily. All right. Well, this is what happens when you do that. Okay. Maybe they'll fix the ship and try to get it back on course. But I think they've lost a lot of the fans that were rocking with them all the way from the Infinity Saga. I don't think those guys are coming back. Still, despite the lower start here for the summer with Guardians 3, there is enough product, if not more than last year, to make up ground and possibly inch. Yeah, now that's true, okay? I think that this is going to be a bigger summer than last year for sure. There's a lot of big, heavy hitting movies that's going to come out this particular summer, okay? Name some of them right here. Little Mermaid, we'll see how that does. Flash, Indiana Jones, Barbie, Mission Impossible, and Spider-Man. All of these films are going to do a lot of numbers, okay? I have a feeling. But all that means is that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is probably going to be coming up on the short end of the stick, okay? You know, because I know for sure, like, Indiana Jones would get in its way. Little Mermaid's going to get in its way, all right? You got Fast X or Fast 10, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure how that's going to do, but at the end of the day, I don't think these films are going to help Guardians of the Galaxy's box office at all. All right. It's going to drive a lot of people into theaters to go see those movies and not go back to see Guardians of the Galaxy again, which is a 2.5-hour movie. It's a long slog of a movie. It's a good movie. I enjoy the movie, but it's a slog. Okay. And so, yeah, I think right now, box office wise, Marvel's in trouble. Okay. Again. All right. We just got through talking about this with Ant-Man. All right. And the Marvels, that doesn't come out until November. Okay. So maybe that length of time will help some people kind of ease and kind of miss the Marvel Cinematic Universe, since you're not going to get another one for 6 months. Maybe that'll help them miss it. But then when you're coming into it, like, oh crap, now we got to watch the Marvels. I'm not sure I want to see this movie at all. Okay. So then they're going to be waiting even longer to see a movie that they want to see. I don't know what's after that. It's not going to be Blade, because I think Blade got pushed back because of the writer's strike. It's just a big fat mess going on right now at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or Marvel Studios. But anyway, folks, this is where we're at, okay? And I want everybody just to speak honestly about what's happening with Marvel, because that's the problem, okay? Nobody's talking honestly like this stupid article, okay? Making up all the excuses in the world. Oh, we got excuses. Oh, you know, Guardians 2, it just popped. Okay, it was just bigger than it should have been. You know, really, this is really where these movies should have been lining up anyway, okay? It's a big crock of horse shit. Let's see how this thing looks as it even hits the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's see if this film even hits that. I don't think it will, all right? But you guys let me know what you think. Go ahead, drop down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and your opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.